shouted at, you know, because 12 years ago, and he's right, that there's a couple of candidates here standing for electoral reform. Can you all hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. UKIP passionately believe in putting controversial issues on the table. 12 years ago, we put Europe down, and everyone went, nationalists, xenophobes. And they're kind of all wondering where the millions and billions go now. Why are we paying it? 6, 7 years ago, we put immigration on the table and went, gotcha, racist. And we went, well, it's funny, like in The Weakest Link, the three of them stood there whittering on about immigration, isn't it? They can't do anything about it because 75 to 90% of the laws are made for us in Brussels by this lot. Your president, guys, unelected, paid 3 times as much as Obama is to pay America, but that's cool. What we say, and now we've just put drugs on the table. Ouch. Ooh, that did go down under lead part, I tell you. But it's got to be addressed. And that's what UKIP stands for. Yes, electoral reform. We believe this great system where we were ruled, and I use the word advisedly, by the 3 failed old parties, because 17th, 18th, 19th, and part of the 20th century, we couldn't read much, couldn't write much, went to war when we were told. It's changed a little bit. In case they don't realise in their political bubble world, we can read and write a little bit, and we've got a decent set of morals, which does appear to be lacking in certain areas. What we say is on those huge issues, war, drugs, immigration, education, sovereignty, the people should have their say by referendum. William the Conqueror was doing it in 1086, admittedly ignored everyone's opinion, but he was a good politician.
He was French.
He was French. He was With my one O-level, I actually know better than that. He was a Norman, which is a euphemism for Northman. He was a Viking who settled in France, didn't like the place because it sucked, but came here. Okay, so anyway, he, as I said, is a good politician, ignored everyone's opinion. The time's come for people to have a say in a great deal more of the ways this country's run, and the 600 odd people up at Westminster, the next cab in the rank, as they describe themselves glibly, they can just manage the joint, okay? And that's what UKIP stands for. It stands for the voice of democracy, as the Green Party, for the voice of your environmental conscience. We're the voice of your democratic conscience. Thanks, guys.
And the first one is from Evo. Is Evo here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the chance to ask a question. My question is fairly basic, but fairly important. First of all, what's politics? And why do we actually need it at all? Thank you.
Can I give that to Tom to answer first?
Well, what is politics? Politics is about power. And politicians who say that they're not interested in power shouldn't be in the job. It's about getting yourself into a position to make real change. And this country is crying out for real change. The sad truth is we've had the 2 old parties that have been passing the parcel of holding the government for the last 65 years. They promised that they'd do all sorts of things to change the way that we govern, to give people more say in what goes on, to reform the House of Lords and make it democratic, to change our voting system, to have fairer taxes. They promised all of these things and they've frankly failed to deliver. So politics is about power, and I want to get as much power for the Liberal Democrats to bring about the real changes that are needed. And I have a difficulty in doing it in the current climate. The current climate is one where politicians of all political parties are now less popular than second-hand car salesmen and women. And the truth is that somebody recently said a wonderful quote about politicians that said, politicians, like babies' nappies, should be changed regularly for exactly the same reason. I think the other parties are like the contents of a baby's nappies, and the time has come to change them.
Well, I actually agree with Don about the baby's nappies and the politicians, but the only party which would provide that change is the Conservatives. Incidentally, interesting compliment I would like to pay you is, why is the Liberal Party not an old party? Surely it's been lasting, it's existed for much longer than even the Tory Party. You've existed in paths, you felt deceived for centuries. So, what's politics? I agree with Don. It's about power. It's about what happens to you. And if you look at the situation this morning, the figures came out. We've got record unemployment, record youth unemployment, and which party deals with that? That is an important question, and you can't just have a. I mean, if you didn't have politicians, you probably have some kind of dictatorship, and that surely isn't in anybody's interest.
Patty?
I'll repeat, it is about power. It's about decision making, and it's about who gets involved in that decision making. And to go back to my former comment about statistics on young people voting, you will only have your hands on any amount of power, deciding who the decision makers are, making those decisions yourself if you vote. And if there are so many more older people voting, it's going to be their views that dominate and not yours. So it's about participation in the democracy that we have here in this country. It's an odd system at the moment. It's first past the post. It's showing very, very skewed results these days. I was at the Power 2010 in the middle of the city on Saturday, and you do only have to look at the pie chart cakes that they made to see where the number of votes and the number of seats simply don't tally. And electoral reform is something which the Labour Party has now put on the table. And the other parties will say this is a dead conversion. Maybe it is for those absolutely at the top in power, but I can tell you that I've been a member of the Labour campaign for electoral reform for a good many years, and so have a lot of Labour Party members and a lot of Labour politicians. So it's not sort of a last gasp conversion for all of those of us who have been interested in it for a long time. I'll stop there. We could discuss it all afternoon, what politics is.
Ernie, do you want to return to that?
I'm fascinated by their view that politics in this country is about power. They're all bloody power mad. Politics in this country is about democracy. That's the system we have. And democracy is ruled by the people and their appointed representatives. So I'm glad that they don't agree with that, worryingly. I will correct Fabian, and Don, I'm sure, would want me to do this, and it's amazing Don and I are on the same platform. The Liberals are a distinctly different party to the Liberal Democrats. The LDs were founded in 90-something, yeah, just after they destroyed my education. Thank you. Not that I'm bitter and twisted, okay?
Not the Liberal Democrats.
No, that was Shirley did that, yeah. Basically, the Liberals, and if you look it up on the website, they have signed over to us. The Liberals are violently and vehemently anti-Europe. They signed over to us in Cornwall, and they did that at a launch in Bristol. So in answer to your question, politics in the UK should be about democracy. I suppose I'm glad to hear that I'm right in that the major parties view it as being about power.